This is Island Thistle, a 1991 Island Packet 32. She is 35 feet overall, including a 3-foot bowsprit, and 11.5 feet in beam. She's powered by 554 square feet of sail area, plus a staysail. She also has a 27 horsepower Yanmar 3GM30F diesel engine. Here's a tour of the boat. Be sure to like and subscribe to follow our adventures, updates, and repairs.
All right, we're out here on the bow of the boat, and up here there are two anchors. The first anchor is this big Fortress anchor, and the second one is a CQR plow type anchor there. Both of those come back here. There's a windlass, and the chain feeds in these two areas here down to the chain locker below. Originally, this boat had a lattice work of teak on the front covering the anchors and the chain, and I removed all that because the chain would get caught under there. The disadvantage, however, is now there are lots of little holes, screw holes in the teak there, and I'm going to have to at some point fill those with something. On the windlass, we have 2 foot pedals here to raise and lower it. And the sails on this boat, there is the Genoa up front, and it's I think 130%, 120% Genoa, and in the behind that we have a staysail. They're both on roller furling, and both roller furlers go back to the cockpit. The staysail goes back here to this Traveler. Normally on an Island Packet, it's going to have a staysail boom. Our staysail boom is over here on the side, and it's not being used right now. That's right now rigged to go straight to the Traveler here. I'm thinking about putting the boom back on just to see if it has any effect. The problem I have right now with it is it should have a topping lift that goes up to the mast right up there, right at the top by the spreaders, and there's no line there, so I have to climb the mast at some point and put a line up there so we can have a topping lift for the back of the staysail boom. Over on the other side, there's a spinnaker pole for pulling out the spinnaker or the Genoa. And moving aft here, you can see we have the 2 hatches. This one goes to the V-berth, that one goes to the head. All our lines and halyards here go back to the cabin. So the main halyard is this one here, and it goes back into the cabin. The main sheet here, there's a Traveler that it's on, also goes back to the cabin. This hatch here is the one that goes into the main cabin area. We've got a couple of Dorade vents here, this one and this one. These are, I added on. I actually lost one of the original ones, knocked off into the water, and so I bought these to replace it. And I don't know what is wrong with these, but the top of them got really sticky soon after I put it on there, and now it's starting to kind of like do this weird peeling thing. They have not really stood up well under the sun, so those will have to be replaced at some point. On the starboard side, we have a filler there for the fresh water. Over on the other side, there are fillers for the diesel fuel, and there's one for the holding tank pump out. This boat has a Dodger. This piece here, that glass piece there, rolls up. There's access areas there for where the lines come through, Traveler lines. And then right now we got a lot of pollen, you can see. Then continuing to move aft into the cockpit here. Inside the cockpit, there's a big locker here that opens up. Lots of room in there to store things. Over on the starboard side, there's the engine control area here. Over there, that is the manual bilge pump, and the handle for that is tied onto the boat underneath the seat there. There's the bimini here, and then I also have this thing here the white thing, that is a outboard crane. It lifts the outboard up and lowers it down to the dinghy. There's our current outboard motor there. This boat also has dinghy davits. Right now they're folded in. There's a metal piece that goes across. They're folded in because we're a 35-foot boat in a 35-foot slip, so there's not enough room for them to be folded out. But when we go underway on trips, we'll fold those out. In the back here, there's a backrest for the seat there. I also have a foam pad that snaps into the little snaps on the side here, and that's the boarding ladder behind that. So this thing here just pulls up, and then you can fold the boarding ladder back. We have our life sling there. Over on this side, that's the solar panel that we just added last summer in the folded down position. And moving back this way, on the left side we have our reefing lines. There are two reefs, red and blue. And we also have the other two lines. One of them goes to the Traveler. The other one goes to the Staysail Traveler, I believe. Over on the starboard side, the main halyard and the main sheet, and the small line hanging up is the other half of the Traveler, the main Traveler. Also in the cockpit, this locker here is the propane locker, where the propane tank is for the galley stove. On the other side, there's another locker here. This one's really shallow. It doesn't go, because this is right above the quarter berth. So this opens up, and this is where I'm keeping all the emergency supplies. But it's not that deep. You can see just that far in. Still kind of dirty in some of those places because at the end of the winter they need washed out. This boat also has a sprayer in the back here that's tapped into the fresh water of the boat, so you can wash off your hands and feet or your body if you come out of the water. This is the main part of the cabin here. So starting on the port side, we have storage here. These slide open. You put things in there. These neat little book racks, so you can put books in there. And then more storage in this side. And on this boat, I've added this TV on here, and it's on a swivel. So it unlatches in the back, and you can swing it out if you need to. And right now I have it hooked up. I have a Roku stick in there, so we can watch TV if we're at the marina. Right here is a big table. So this table folds down, and that's the leg of the table that you see sticking out right there. So you just pop this thing up like that, fold the table down. The leg goes into a little metal thing right there. And then there's the table all the way out. And back here you have all kinds of storage. You could put, a lot of people use this as the bar and put rum bottles there. We have our sunscreen there. This table also folds out. So folds open like this, and it takes up the entire width. Now this right now it's kind of crooked, but there's a couple of props that go up under this other side that hold up this table so it sits flat. And then that just closes right up. And you can use half of it that way. And then folds up into here. And down here there's a little snap that holds this leg on. And then the pin here holds that up while you're not using it. And going around here on the port side, there's the head. This is the mast right here. So it's a keel step mast. So the mast comes through the cabin top and goes all the way down and sits on the keel. Over on the starboard side, There's another little locker there. You open that up. It's a hanging locker, so you hang jackets. We hang our jackets and life vests in there. And then here's another one of these little storage areas there. This boat has an air conditioner in it, and here's the thermostat. It's a Mermaid air conditioner, and I guess heater as well, up to a certain point. You have more of those same storage areas here. Here's the other half of this is where the air conditioner comes out. So it blows air out of this. And then there's our book rack again. More storage here. And behind all of these seats, there's storage. So these kind of sit in here like this. There's a wooden piece there. This one doesn't have a lot of space in it because the AC vent is right there. On the other side, same thing. These pop out, and you got storage behind all the seats. Each one has storage. The ones toward the front of the boat are a little smaller because they get narrower as you go forward. Also have some storage under here. On this particular one, the air conditioner's in there, but each seat has storage under there. On this side, there's a berth that pulls out. So you have this kind of long chase lounge seating here. And then right over here, this wooden piece along the bottom, that slides out. And then you end up making like a bunk out of this. So you could sleep 2 people there fairly easily. It slides out. There's also storage under that. In this particular boat, the holding tank is under this one. And under this one is the macerator pump and the Y valve and the seacock that goes out from the holding tank. Over on this side, this one I have batteries under the first storage area here, and then one battery under the storage area there. And I put my solar controller and things electrical related in that one under the back there. All the electricity in this boat comes in through here. So there's the main battery switch. This also has a 12-volt charger. So this charges the starter battery from the house batteries. So the house batteries get charged first, and then they charge the starter battery using this 12-volt to 12-volt charger. Now we're moving aft. Back here, this area is kind of like the navigation station. And you have the panel here. Controls all the electricity on the boat. There's the radio. All of these little areas here have storage. And one neat thing you have here is a desk that folds up. So this thing here is locked in place right now. But and there it is, open. So it folds up, and there's actually 2 different angles you can put it at. There's the flat angle, and there's one slightly lower than that. And then where you would sit over here, this little wood piece here slides out. So that just comes out like this. And it's got some buttons on there. Those buttons correspond with the buttons on that blue pillow back there, and it just snaps into there. And then that's your seat when you're at the nav station. It's also got this little drawer here where you could keep things in there that you needed at the nav station. There's another one of those right over there on the bottom. And that's where I keep all my charts and stuff, in this one, because it's a little bigger. So I keep all the navigation stuff in there. Now on the panel here, what we have on this boat, we have the freezer, so that's turned on here. We also have a sensor for the holding tank, so it'll tell us if the holding tank is empty, 1/3, 2/3, or full. So the way that works is one of these have to be on, I forget which one it is, and then you press that and it tells you where it's at. So right now the holding tank's empty. But we've got, of course, the cabin lights, water pressure, instruments, radio, the gas, sump drain, which I believe that one is for the shower. And then all the navigation lights, masthead lights, running lights, DC outlets, the autopilot's there. Over on this side is the 120 volt side. So on 120 volts here, we have the air conditioner is the one that's added down here. And there's a battery charger as well. And on this boat, these lights, I don't think those are original. I think the original ones were similar to the one back in the one in the V-berth here that looks like this. I think that's the original fixture they put in these boats, but someone I think has gone and added this. We also have fans throughout the boat, but has added that fixture. And another thing I have in here, someone added this LED light strip here. So there's one on each side. So at night, that's usually the light that I use, is the LED lights. So there's a switch right over here that turns those on. They're kind of old though, so there are some spots here that have burnt out, and I'm gonna have to replace these at some point because they're kind of intermittent at times. There's that one on that side, and then this other one over on the other side. And then in these fixtures, these have all been replaced with LEDs, so there are LED bulbs in those. And moving aft, this is the quarter berth, aft quarter berth here. And this goes in there pretty deep. It's pretty big. I got a lot of stuff in there right now. That's my dinghy, inflatable dinghy, and that's the spinnaker, and then some other seating things I have in there right now. But when you're back here, you do get port light right there. There's two openings in the back there, those two. Those open up, and inside the one on the right is the water heater, and inside the one on the left is where you access the autopilot stuff from. And other autopilot stuff is behind that white panel there. That's where the autopilot computer is. And then in here you also have another little storage area. And you have some storage area here on the top as well, all along the back. And this is allegedly about the size of a queen bed, they say, at least toward the front, and then it narrows as you get toward the aft part of the boat. Under these cushions, there's more storage under there. So you have, I think, a couple storage areas here and here. Under this one, you get to access the engine, the back side of the engine from there. Then there's two more beyond that access the lower aft bilge areas where the shaft seal and that sort of thing is. And in the quarter berth, the entire thing can be closed off. There's a curtain here. This curtain comes out, it tucks away inside there. It comes all the way out around that side, so you could close off the quarter berth from the rest of the boat. Now we're looking at the companionway area here. So you would step down those steps. Right under the steps come off. There's a couple little wing nuts that hold them in place. They come off. This wooden box here slides out, and that's where you access the front of the engine from. On the starboard side of the boat, we have the galley. And we have a big freezer here. This opens up, and it is a freezer, so you can make ice cubes in there. And there's a bit more room on the other side. It's pretty deep, it goes in there pretty far. There's also storage up here for silverware type stuff. It has the dividers already in there. And then also there's a space where you can keep plates and that sort of thing if you wanted to. We're keeping ours up there for now. And you also have plenty of storage in the back side here. So we keep our spices and things in there. Important coffee and tea stuff there. And then our cups over in this far one here. Then we also have another little storage area here. It's where we're keep our pots and pans, and when we're underway, we'll keep food and things in there. Then you have the galley sink here. It's a double sink. We have in here, you have the hot and cold water plus the sprayer for that. And then this part here is a filtered water for drinking water. It comes from the freshwater tank. It goes through a filter and comes out here. We also have a galley stove under here. It's got an oven. And this board here comes up, and you got a couple burners under there. This board, I'm going to replace this. Somebody has made it out of what looks like old pieces of bamboo cutting board or something. So, kind of like a haphazard glue job of putting it together, but I'm going to try to make a new one for that. On the cabin sole, there's a couple areas that open up into the bilge. The first one up in the V-berth. This one here opens up into the seacock for the drains, the sink drains. There's another one under here, under this rug. That one opens up into the main part of the bilge where the freshwater tanks are. And that's where the start of the freshwater tanks, there's an opening there. This thing here is pretty neat. It's allegedly a dustpan. This opens up, and then you can sweep all your junk and everything into that and grab that little handle, pick it up, and throw it out that way. Also, under here, that's where the fuel tank is. So there's the fuel tank and the gauge. You can see how much fuel is left. And then we also have this little built-in trash thing here. It holds a standard kitchen-sized trash bag. And there's also storage here. Little paper towel holder. And it goes back in there pretty deep on the bottom. And the top, it goes about halfway in there. And this is another neat little thing that it does here to give you some more space if you want it in the galley or in the cabin. You can open up this. There's a strut that pops out there to hold this up to give you a little bit more galley space, or you could use the space from the seats over here. And this is the V-berth at the front of the boat. Up in this area right there is the chain locker. So you open that up and you can see where the chain comes in from the windlass. Over on the starboard side, we have this little dresser closet thing here. There's some storage in here. And this door to close the V-berth has a latch down on the bottom to hold it closed. And then inside here, lots of storage in there. And have an AC outlet right over there. So when we're at the dock, you plug into AC. There are fans, fan there and a light there. And over on the other side, we just have a light. There's a fan on the back side there as well. Under the V-berth cushions, there is storage there. There's 3 areas. Each one of these pulls up. Storage there, that one, and there's one up there in the middle as well. And under this piece here removes. And then under that, more storage here. Drawer there. Drawer there. They have cedar lined bottoms. And then here, there's storage. And opposite that, more storage. And then down here we have access to the front part of the bilge. Just the furthest forward compartment. It's pretty deep. You can store lots of stuff in there if you needed to. And looking at the boat from the V-berth, this is what you see. This door right here goes into the head. And that's the door that closes to close off the V-berth. Inside here also, you have a hatch above the V-berth, and you have 2 port lights there and there. And inside here we have the head, There's a port light. This port light has this nifty little privacy screen that slides back and forth to let light in. We also have another hatch above us here. There's a shower, and the shower head runs over to hot and cold water there. There's storage behind here. Another one right there. There's also storage in here. It goes down into a little cabinet down there. And then we have a medicine cabinet over here. Opens up, medicine cabinet, and two more sides over here. More medicine cabinet. The head in this boat is a freshwater head, which means that the water that you're using to flush it, rather than a lot of boats will have that, you'll pull that out of a through hull in the water that you're sitting in. So if you're in salt water, you're flushing the head with salt water, which has some disadvantages because that salt water sits in a holding tank. It can get stinky because of the different microbes and bacteria that you suck in through the water that you're sitting in. This one, however, freshwater, over on that side is the inlet that lets the fresh water in. There's a little solenoid actuated valve right there that lets the water into the head. Then it goes out down that pipe and then in through the back to the holding tank, which is on the other side of this. So initially, the head on this boat was a different regular type of marine head that you pump. This one here apparently is a little bit taller than the last one because there is this thing here that you unlatch, and you normally would be able to sit this on here, so you'd have a thing to sit on. But this does not sit flat because the head is a little taller than the old one. So I may have to do, if I want to use that, may have to do something along the back there to raise it up a little bit. Shower in this boat works pretty well. There's a shower head and there's a curtain. The curtain goes all around the outside, so you just slide it around the track, and it protects the water from getting in the doors. And then down at the bottom is a shower sump. So your water runs down there and it gets pumped overboard from there. You also have another 120 volt outlet there when you're on the shore. You can use the shore power there. There's also you have a sink in here in the head. And of course, hot and cold water. You can get to the head from two places. The door we're in, and then the door in the V-berth is right next to it. So backing up, so we close that, and in the V-berth, there's that second door again.
So that was Island Thistle. Thanks for watching the boat tour. Be sure to click like and subscribe.